Hi YouTube, this is Johnny. Time to make a video. It's been 3 days. My wife is working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know how long this is going to last because she's going to retire next June and she's always going to be here. And if I'm going to make a video, I'm going to have to make it either in my study or in the lower level among all the our books. It's not it's kind of like making videos to me is not something I always feel comfortable about because I am so imperfect. It's kind of like when you make videos, you show all your flaws, your imperfections, your ignorance, how shallow you are. You kind of expose yourself and show that you're... and there's really not... there are certain limitations in when you make a video. In YouTube, in BookTube, there are expectations, and people watch the video and say, man, this guy is absolutely boring. And so there's always this pressure on you when you make a video to be interesting, to be provocative, to be profound. And I'm not really. I'm just a very simple Christian bookworm who collects books, who's at this time in our life I can afford to go out and buy used books. Now, I don't buy new books. Now, I do buy Christian new books. Like, I got one in the mail today, but I got this book I got an email. I told you about this guy who watches my videos, who's a Christian minister, and we've been going back and forth in emails, and he told me his last email that Fortress Press had a sale. And I wrote back and said, well, Fortress Press, I don't buy their books because they're very liberal. And I am an evangelical, conservative, Calvinist, lover of the 17th century English Puritans, and believe the Bible to be the inspired Word of God. I go by the authority of Scripture, things like that. But I was kind of curious of what Fortress Press had a sale on. Well, the first thing I noticed that they had a book by the Anglican New Testament scholar N.T. Wright called The Resurrection of Christ. Well, that is the third volume of his series, Jesus and the People of God. And I have the first 2 volumes, but I never got around to buying volume 3, The Resurrection of Christ. So I bought that. It was only $13, and it goes like for $40, something like that. It was like 60% off. And they also had this book. I had looked at this book before when several months ago I was doing a study on participation in Christ, participating in the life of God through union with Christ. And I found this book, and I got it in the mail today. I think I paid $11 for it, and it goes for at least $35. And it's called Reclaiming Participation, Christ is God's Life for All by Cynthia Peters Anderson. Now, it says that this must have been her doctorate or her master's thesis because she is it says here, she holds a PhD in theology from Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary. She is currently senior pastor at Bellevia United Methodist Church in Batavia, Illinois, and was formerly associate pastor at Barrington United Methodist Church in Chicago. So I got this in the mail. So I bought this new. I didn't buy it used, but I got it on sale. Now, I did buy this book. I've showed this in my last video because I have been rereading. This is Friday Reads. I've been rereading 1984 by George Orwell. I read this, back when I was in high school, and I don't even remember for absolutely sure if I absolutely read it. But I have been reading it. I read it. I've read 123 pages. It's going pretty smoothly. But I did buy this book new from Amazon. They had it on discount. The Ministry of Truth, a biography of George Orwell's 1984 by Dorian Lynskey. So I have been reading these for my last 3 days. I also I picked up used the other day at a local thrift store called Action House. It's a Christian ministry that provides furniture, clothing, food, all kinds of things for poor people and just people in general. But I picked up this Wilco, Learning How to Die. Wilco is one of, before Wilco, this is about Jeff Tweedy, who's started Wilco. But before Wilco, Jeff Tweedy was in a band called Uncle Tupelo, which is one of my favorite bands. They broke up, and you have Wilco with Jeff Tweedy, and the other member of Uncle Tupelo. There are several members, but the lead guitarist and one of the singer-songwriters, Jeff Farrell, started Sunvolt. I've always been more into Sunvolt than Wilco, but I have an appreciation for Jeff Tweedy's music, his lyrics. He has a new album out. I did buy his last solo album, and I do have some Wilco CDs. I do buy Sunvolt and Jay Farrell, but this is on the beginning of Wilco, when it leads up. Well, first it starts out with the history of Uncle Tupelo, and then obviously they broke up after several records, and they put out 5 or 6 records. I started getting into Uncle Tupelo when we lived in Houston, Texas back in the 80s, and then when they broke up, I didn't go towards Wilco, I went towards Sunvolt, Jay Farrell. And I haven't bought the new Jay Farrell CD. I haven't got around to it because you can't buy everything. So anyway, I was reading this a little bit off and on the last couple of days. Wilco, Learning How to Die by Greg Kot. I also picked up at a used thrift store, and I've been reading it last couple of days, The Case for Jesus, the Biblical and Historical Evidence for Christ by Brant, Pitre. So I've been reading this. I've read 63 pages. I'm enjoying it. And I did get back into reading this in the mornings, Biblical Theology of the New Testament by Peter Stuhlmacher. I've read 213 pages. I'm on the chapter, The Development of the Confession of Christ. Before that, it was Jesus' Resurrection from the Dead. So I've been reading that. One thing I mentioned in my videos about the Friends of the Library used book sale, and last Tuesday I helped box up the books that didn't sell, and I got a lot of books. I'll show them to you. I'll just show you the stacks of them. See them? Those are the ones I got that when I was helping box up the books that didn't sell Tuesday. I got all those for $5. But then I also bought for $5 this set. I bought these for $5. And what this set is the complete works of Guy de Maupassant. He was a French short story writer. He He wrote novels. This is a volume of 17, but it's missing volume 3. But they were going for $45, and they didn't sell. And the lady who runs the Book Nook and the Friends of the Library Used Book Sale, she's really good to me. She spoils me, and she said, well, I'll sell them to you for $5. And I said, because she didn't know what to do with them. And I immediately bought them. And I've been reading them pretty steadily. I've been reading the novel here, Strong as Death, by Guy de Pezant. These were published in 1917 by the McClure Book Company in New York City. They're in perfect condition. I did read a short story out of volume 14 called The Ball of Tallow, or The Ball of Fat. I read that. It was really good. And now I've been reading, well, I kind of took a break, but I was reading pretty steadily the Strong as Death, a novel by Guy de Maspont. But I'm really enjoying it. So I got not 17, but I got 16 volumes of the set, published in 1917. Now I looked online, I can buy volume 3 used from a site that sells Aquarian books, but I don't know. So that's what I've been reading. That's what I got at the library used book sale. The last day when we held Boxed Up, it wasn't an open public sale. It was for, these are the books that I got and put in a paper bag and paid $5 for. And then the woman who runs the Book Nook and oversees the Friends of the Library used book sale, and she was gracious to me and let me buy this set of the complete works of Guy de Maspont for $5. Hey, she was selling for $45 and nobody bought them. I don't know why. I don't know. Everybody has different literary taste. But I'm not going to show you all of those books. I mean, I think the point about making videos, I think you're getting sick of me showing all these used books. Because they just flow into this house because I'm a book collector, and we must live in an area where there's a lot of good books, because I have no problem finding books. Now, last of all, I'm going to show you the books I got today at the Book Nook. The last couple, somebody donated a bunch of books that all fit my literary taste and interest. Somebody donated a really good selection of books that I just gravitate towards. There was some more today, and this is what I got today at the Book Nook today. I volunteer at the library used bookstore, the Book Nook, on Fridays from 10 to 1 and on Mondays 10 to 1. And before I open up, I always look in the back of what's been donated. And if I see anything, I ask if I can buy it. And so I put my name on it and say, I'll buy this. And today, the lady was there, so she gave me a price, and I bought these all for it's like $20. The first thing I found today at the Book Nook and I brought home used is the collected stories of Linda Davies. I have a volume of her, another volume of her short stories, but this is the collected stories of Linda Davies. She also translates Madame Bouvier out of French, and I think she did some other French translations. This is called The Travels in the Interior Districts of Africa by Mango Park. This first came out in 1799, but this has been edited with an introduction by Kate Ferguson Masters, and this is published by Duke University Press. And hey, you know, she sold it to me for $1. And I, as you all know, I collect travel books, travel memoirs, but I don't like to travel, which is kind of strange. This is a poetry by James Morrell, The Changing Light at Sandover. I collect poetry, and I didn't have any poems by him. And this is For the Soul of France, Cultural Wars in the Age of Dreyfus by Frederick Brown. Now, I just showed you that I picked up by Frederick Brown his biography on Fulbert, and this is another book that came into the Book Nook, For the Soul of France, Culture Wars in the Age of Dreyfus by Frederick Brown. This is the Grove Press Reader. Grove Press is, if I see any book used that's published by Grove Press, I immediately buy it. And because as you look it up, some people have commented over the last couple of years I made videos. Well, how do you know what to look for when you go to a book sale or a thrift store or a used book sale? How do you know what to choose? Well, what I do is I would look at the people that has been the writers who have been published by Grove Press. Now here you have Henry Miller, you have D.H. Lawrence, Samuel Beckett, you have Frank Harris, you have all kinds of writers that I would collect. I would look at the indexer. Now, what the Grove Press Reader is selection from these writers' books, essays, poems, short stories. It even has Jack Kerouac here, Henry Miller. It has all kinds of people, and so I would look at this list. And these are the people I would look for when I go to a thrift store or a used book sale. I say 90% of the people mentioned in this Grove Press Reader, at least 75% I have books by them in our library. This is how I find out about because I like avant-garde literature. I like experimental literature. I like literature that is not, quote, popular or lowbrow. I also picked up at the Book Nook, as you all know, I collect books on the First World War. And I found one, Cataclysm, the First World War as a Political Tragedy by David Stevenson. I have his, another book by him. I think it's called, I can't remember. I have another book by him. So I have another book by him downstairs on the First World War. This is a biography that I found out I have already in paperback in our library on Oscar Wilde by Philippe Jullian. This is translated out of the French by Violet Wilham. Now my copy down the lower level is a paperback. This is a nice hardback. This is another book of poetry by John Ashberry, The Worldly Country and New Poems. I have his collected poems in a big, huge volume down the lower level, but I like this cover. And this is Jacques Cousteau. He was a surrealist, obscurist playwright of France. These are 5 plays by him. This is a biography on the British poet Benjamin by A.N. Wilson. He was a time of Virginia Woolf in the Bloomsbury group. let me see. Anyway, I collect biographies, and I also collect the writings of A.N. Wilson. I've shown his writings over the last couple of years. This is his biography on Bitchaman. I can't pronounce it. So I got this. Then as you all know, I collect the McSweeney's. This is volume 31. It's a literary journal. They come out like 4 times a year. And this one came into the Book Nook, and I bought it. McSweeney's. And this is a work by Tom Wolfe. In our time, he did the illustrations in it. His art, he was a cartoonist. He recently died. He wrote, I collect his writings. The Kool-Aid Acid Test is one of my all-time favorite books. These are like little biographical sketches, people in New York City. And then finally, I got at the Book Nook today, The Art of the New Yorker, 1925 to 1995 by Lee Lorenz. I have another volume that he did on the cartoons in the New Yorker. One of the cartoonists, he did a biography on him. But these are like from the New Yorker. As you all know, I collect books on the New Yorker magazine and writers who wrote for the New Yorker. So that's what I got today at the Book Nook. That's what I got at the when we packed up the books that didn't sell at the library, Friends of the Library Used Book Sale. Now I can put all this stuff down the lower level and let it gather dust. But hey, I have been reading, like I said, I have been reading this little volume on this novel by Guy de Maupassant, Strong as Death. And I've read 119 pages. I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. I just kind of took a break today because, I don't know, I always take breaks, but I'll get back into it. So I hope you're having a good week. Like I said, I'm kind of like, it's always been kind of hard for me to sustain relationships. I'm kind of like, I'm always off in my own world, and I have my interest, and I don't get bored. I have my writing. Today I ended in my diary for July 2019. For the year 2019, I have written thus far 660 pages in my paper diary for the year 2019. We're coming to the end of July, and we'll be in the 8th month of the year, August 2019. That's where I have my birthday. It's where I contemplate my demise, falling into the ground. Like you all know, I believe in a green burial. I want to be wrapped up in a canvas and just laid on the ground and plant flowers on my grave, and hope there's a tree overhead. And it'd be kind of nice if I was close to a brook or a little stream. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you're having a good week. I know I've been kind of out here wandering the wasteland. The weather's been nice here in West Michigan. It's been kind of warm. Tonight I closed up the house and turned on central air to get it kind of cooled down. But it is 78 degrees here on July the 26th, 2019. It is 10:02 here in Holland, Michigan, a little town by Lake Michigan. Tomorrow's a Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I haven't visited local thrift stores this week, and I might do that tomorrow morning. There's Bibles from Mexico. There's Goodwill that I haven't visited in a couple days. And do I really need any more used books? I mean, look at this. I got these today from the Book Nook. I got Travels in the Interior Districts of Africa by Mongo Park, and I got poetry, and I got stuff on the historical Jesus to read, and I'm gonna look at this book tonight, Reclaiming Participation. Christ is God's Life for All. Reading about Wilco, the beginning of the band. Really enjoying rereading. Well, maybe I know if I even read it when I was in high school. I was just kind of off in space somewhere. 1984 by George Orwell. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm also enjoying reading The Ministry of Truth, the biography of George Orwell's 1984 by Dorian, Lynskey. So hey, and of course, always read the Word of God. Read the Bible. You can't go wrong reading the Bible. And I know I should read it more and more and more as I grow older and older and older. Because in this world we need the light of God's Word to guide us along the narrow way. So once again, I do thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for just being who you are, and I hope you're all doing well. And I might make a video tomorrow night. I might even show the books in the back of me. I don't know. Like I said, I think you must get awful bored with me just showing books. But like I said, I'm a book collector. I love books. I read all the time. I write. I watch birds. I love flowers. I just want to be in the presence of God and live a life of peace and holiness. So until next time, bye.